My name is Kelsey Irvin.
I'm Brea Walker.
And I'm Allie.
I'm Spencer Berry.
And we're here to talk to you today about the loss of biodiversity and extinction.
I'm going to talk to you about massive extinctions from human activity. Despite knowing that biodiversity's importance for a long time, human activity has been causing massive extinctions. Current extinction rate is now approaching 1,000 times the background rate and may climb to 10,000 times the background rate during the next century. If present trends continue, a loss that would easily equal those of past extinctions. 10 to 30% of the mammal, bird, amphibian species threatened with extinction due to human actions. Worldwide Fund of Nature added that Earth is unable to keep up in the struggle to regenerate from the demands we place on it. 1 out of 8 birds, 1 out of 4 mammals, 1 out of 4 conifers, which are trees, 1 out of 3 amphibians, 6 out of 7 marine turtles are all threatened with extinction. 75% of genetic diversity of agriculture crop has been lost. 75% of the world's fisheries are fully or overexploited. Up to 70% of the world's known species risk extinction if the global temperatures rise up to 3.5 degrees Celsius. Global Biodiversity Outlook looked and found the ratio of biodiversity loss has not been reduced because of the 5 principal pressures on biodiversity. They are still persistent and even intensifying. The first one is habitat loss and degradation. Second is climate change. Third is excessive nutrient load and other forms of pollution. 4 is overexploitation and unsustainable use. And 5 is invasive alien species. The pie graph right there is showing you that 40% of the species are least concerned and 2% of them are already extinct. The red list accesses the conservation status of species, subspecies, varieties, and even selected subpopulations on the global scale. Rapid extinction rates mean that it could take a long time for nature to recover. This bar graph is showing that countries have the highest number of extinct species, and many governments around the world say that the 5 pressures are affecting biodiversity in their country. And as you can see, the United States is the first one by over triple the amount. And this shows a list of animals that are affected by extinction, and the first one is amphibians, up to 29%, and the second is mammals, up to 20%.
So focusing on biodiversity loss in the ocean, life began in the ocean about 3.1 to 3.4 billion years ago, while life on land began only 400 million years ago. Evolution in the ocean comprised of 55 phyla, which are taxonomic groups to represent the separate evolutionary paths. Of those 55, 80% were marine species and 50% were land species. So problems associated with the ocean being so large are that it takes expensive technology to access a majority of the ocean and discover the biodiversity. Second, it is also hard to track the distribution of species to determine their status and if they're endangered or not. And it is also assumed that marine ecosystems are in good condition, but that is not necessarily true. So the results of biodiversity loss are that due to a smaller population size, the genetic variation is reduced, which affects how the species will adapt to new changes in the environment. Species depend on one another, so the depletion of one will cause a chain reaction and threaten the ecosystem as a whole. So some causes of marine biodiversity are that the dispersal is the main way a species reproduces, and if those routes are interrupted, the population of the species could be affected. Another one is fishing and bycatch, which is accidentally catching a marine animal other than the one you are fishing for. Hunting mammals, birds, and turtles, toxic chemicals and nutrients pollution, habitat destruction from residential and industrial developments, aquaculture, and dams, human-assisted release of species where they did not previously exist, UV radiation due to the depletion of the ozone layer, and global climate change could have an impact in the future. So some solutions to biodiversity loss are marine protected areas, which are marine sites established to protect habitats, endangered species, and to restore the health of marine ecosystems. Marine reserves, which are sites that provide a higher degree of ecosystem protection by prohibiting fishing, mineral extraction, and other habitat altering activities. Land use and development regulation, monitoring and reporting, which empowers the citizens the responsibility for monitoring the water, and also zoning, which zones coastal areas to slow some of the habitat degradation caused by development.
Next up is deforestation. Deforestation and the introduction of non-native species has led to a 12.5% decrease of the world's plant species that are critically rare. Forests include 31% of the Earth's land surface and are more than 2/3 of the net primary production on land. They also contain more than half of the terrestrial animal and plant species. Logging is also a huge problem. Replanting trees is good, and a good plant to do this for is eucalyptus. But eucalyptus taps into our groundwater that humans need to survive and also dries up the surrounding areas for us and other trees as well. Chemicals are also used to treat wood pulp from eucalyptus, which has gotten into local fisheries and food production, affecting many indigenous regions. Lots of government institutions buy illegal timber from pristine forests. It's claimed that the UK buys mahogany from Brazil, which is where 80% of all timber is traded illegally. Animals are dependent on wood for homes, food, and breeding, which only large ones usually survive due to migration. Logging or dragging trees on the dirt roads damages the soil and plants, so erosion is happening way more than it should. So what can we do? We can hold suppliers accountable for producing timber, beef, paper, so that it has a minimal impact on natural forests. We should also maximize our use of recycled wood, pulp, paper, and fiber. We can buy recycled wood products that only support brands with zero deforestation policies. We can reduce greenhouse gases to protect our air and our environment. And developing countries with tropical forests can make commitments to protecting their forests in exchange for capacity building efforts and national level reductions in deforestation emissions.
Let's summarize what we've learned about with a quick definition. The term misuse of land and resources refers to the destructive, excessive use or achieving imbalance between resources. There are several forms of land and resource misuse, but they can all lend themselves to extinction by eradicating and altering former ecosystems and spoiling/depleting resources shared by humans and other species. Two primary forms of land misuse that play a role in extinction are terrestrial and marine and coastal ecosystems. As you can see in the slide, there have been major negative losses in both systems over the past 2 decades, such as the 130,000 kilometer loss of forest area and the loss of 25% of the world's salt marshes. The issue with these losses are as such. With 50% of terrestrial species being housed in forest areas, the threat of deforestation threatens the existence of thousands of lives. Meanwhile, the loss of biodiversity such as salt marshes leads to the planet's natural defense system against storms and carbon dioxide.
Possible ways to protect our natural resources include promoting solar energy, power-saving methods. We can all use public transportation, and in total we can block the air pollution routes. This overall leads us to sustainability and therefore depleting our loss of deforestation, protecting our oceans, and overall protecting our mammals and wildlife. Thank you.